أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأزواجه وذرياته وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والنفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تسألون به والأرحم إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, wherever you may be, I'm your brother Reza Abdul-Jabbar from Invercargill greeting you. And on this beautiful night, the best of the month of Ramadan, of whatever left of this month, may this become a great blessings and barakat for all of us, wherever we may be, that we make the most, the ultimate best in achieving and attaining the full forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear brothers and sisters, we started off the talk with the last couple of talks that on the topic of the ideal Muslims. But today, I want to present to you one of the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent on us to reflect a figure, a complete figure, not not only ideal but superb in being ideal in a lot of senses, if not all senses, that has shown us. The example today is none other of that of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. I felt that this is a great example in the sense that given the way the world's today under the crisis, the health crisis of COVID-19, which brings the whole world to its knees, really, that we scramble for foods for a lot of places, health systems uh, stretched, and to a certain extent in some countries perhaps collapsing. But my dear brothers and sisters, the reason I bring the caliber of this example of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, peace and blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon him, is that Yusuf alayhi salam is, in my opinion, is the greatest agriculture minister past and present. I do not know of a better minister of agriculture or primary industries that has done the job as best as what Yusuf alayhi salam has done. Granted, he is a Nabi, he's a prophet of Allah, that he's special, but we can learn lessons from the way he handled food crisis, which I personally feel that the way COVID-19 has perhaps affected a lot of the world, that we may be staring at the imminent food crisis. And as Muslims, we see things on all perspective, on all general perspective, and we look at things in a holistic way. Mashal Muslimin wal Muslimat rahimakumullah. I sort of want to reflect on this in Surah Yusuf, isn't what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has actually given us the example of what Yusuf alayhi salam and his role as the greatest agriculture minister. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال الملك إني أرى سبع بقرات سمان يأكلوهن سبع إجاف وسبع سنبلات خضر وآخر يابسات يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في رؤياي إن كنتم للرؤيا تعبرون قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين وقال الذي نجا منهما والذكر بعد أمات أن أنا أنبئكم بتعويله فأرسلون يوسف أيها الصديق أفتنا في 7 بقارة سمان يأكلهن 7 إجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى باسيات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون. See, this few ayah in Surah Al-Yusuf is great reflections upon us. Here, the king of Egypt, he sit to his inner circle, the closest of his aides, his ministers, so to speak, and he said that indeed I had a dream where I've seen 7, you know, bakara, which is the female of the cows, the female of the cattle, the cows. And I've seen 7 cows that were fat. These fat cows were eaten by 7 cows that that were skinny. So the 7 fat cows eaten by 7 skinny cows. And I can see 7 grain of cereal and that are green, and 7 grain others that have dried up, the yellow grain of the cereal. And he said, "Oh, my inner circle." He said, "Tell me about this. What I have dreamed. If you could make the wheel of this, if you can make the, the reflections on my dream, as in what it means to me." And they said, "This is just dreams that are empty dreams, and we don't know. We don't know how to make a wheel on this dream." And some of those people were saying, and they remembered of Yusuf alayhi salam, and they thought of him for a few, for a wee while. And he said, "I will tell this dream to Yusuf alayhi salam," which they knew that Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam um, were very, he was knowledgeable in making the ta'wil of the dream. And I will tell him, and I will ask them what he thinks of this. When one of those servant in the palace went and saw Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, "Yeah, Yusuf, or people that I really trust," he said, "Tell us to me about these 7 cows that were fed and that were eaten by 7 cows that were skinny, and the 7 grain of cereal that were green, and the 7 others that were dry and yellow." And then so that I can come back to those people so that they will understand the meaning of this dream. Yusuf alayhi salam said that you should uh, really plant 7 years or 7 seasons worth of planting and planting grains like normal, and and that you need to leave some of those grains in the cereals and eat some of them, and because it will come 7 years of beautiful harvest from the grain, which will be followed by another 7 years of difficult years that will mean that you shall finish what you save in the first 7 years uh, for the following 7 years, except of the small amount that's left. Um, and then it will come the time to the people, uh, we we shall be given lots of rain, and we're gonna have lots of produce, whether it's grapes, whether it is cereals, and whether it is those of the other crops. My dear brothers and sisters, I find that this story is so befitting, given the fact that we are suffering under COVID-19, that the world is on its knees, really. Some of you might hear that there's some prediction that we may go into into depression and or recession, that the world economy will slow down. But isn't that funny that given the fact that when the people lots of us are still eating and still not really going with too much with that lot of listing, that the world had to go into recession. To me, it sums up the very principle of Islam, that we have been buying things that are over and above what our needs are. We have been consuming overly. We've been overconsumptive in the way we live. So therefore, when we go back and retract and live life modestly, like what we do the last 7 weeks in New Zealand, and I know some other people over the countries will do the same, that this has sent the world into recession. SubhanAllah. But there are a lot of other places in the world that are not as lucky as we are. They experience food shortages, they're experiencing food crisis, and this will only get worse. My dear brothers and sisters, I brought this story to light because I want to illustrate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the Quran to us ever fresh. I felt when I read these stories of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, I felt that it's seen exactly for us. I feel like it's just been seen just now, right now and then. That it's being sent to us, and I feel like especially sent to us, given the way COVID-19 is, you know, is a big problem that we face at the moment. معاشر المسلمين والمسلمات رحمكم الله. Yusuf alayhi salam, being a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is obviously is ma'sum, is free from mistake by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we certainly not. We make mistakes on a daily basis. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كل بني آدم حتى وخير حتى إن تواب. That all sons of Adam, the place of mistakes, the place of shortcomings, the place of forgetfulness. The best of those people that make the mistakes are the people that make the mistakes and they repent towards Allah in a hurry. This story outlines to us that as Muslims, we should really plan ahead. This is a story of planning. The story of Yusuf alayhi salam, of course, it's a story of solution and many others. It's a story of perseverances. It's a story of istiqamah, steadfast. It's a story of great efforts in plantings, in managing food. But of course, to me, it's a story of planning. Because not only Yusuf alayhi salam was the minister of agriculture, but also he was the minister of finance, which is quite a unique combination. Not the combination that I can say that I often see today in the way a lot of governments are operating. That we see the finance minister. The finance minister is also the the agriculture minister at the same time. But it must carry the point of importance that food is everything. Food is everything. We know that one of the reason a government is successful is if the government can provide food, if it can, and of course, eliminate or alleviate fear in among the people that lives in that kingdom or in that sultanate or in that province or in that republic, whichever the model of like nation that we live in. My dear brothers and sisters, Yusuf alayhi salam actually made a plan. So 7 years of good harvest, keeping some of the harvest on its cereals and only harvesting some of it and leaving some so it lasts. Because this is a story of cleverness. This is a story of one that plan and actually have knowledge. Because it is not simple, to plan for 7 years, let alone it's easy. He must have had a lot of knowledge. One of the great examples that I see among the people of the past is that they were very balanced. They were very balanced individuals. They were really ideal Muslims that the knowledge of Deen that they had were also very balanced. That they had other knowledge of the Akhrawi or the dunya, be it science, be it economics, physics, math, and all the rest that we aspire to acquire. My dear brothers and sisters, Yusuf alayhi salam knew full well that that in isti'anah, in seeking knowledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in seeking help, it comes with a great effort in actually making sure that we work hard to see us through. And to cut the long story short, we all know what actually happened in the end, that the whole kingdom of Egypt survived the famine. Obviously, everybody or anybody can survive the good year of harvest. I mean, it's not difficult to live within abundance, but it's a lot more difficult to live in shortages. Yusuf alayhi salam, got the whole nation through the difficult times after the 7 years of good times. And I think us as Muslims, how often is that we have done this planning to us? We hear a lot of brothers and sisters that have felt difficult, that felt distressed, that have perhaps lost their jobs. And this happens to the entire community. Lots are losing job, our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors, and whoever they may be. I'm sure each and every one of us, um, has heard a story where someone is losing the job, and it's a difficult situation. The governments are doing the best they can to help us through during the short period, but in the long term, it's entirely up to us. But if you really reflect on those years that we have lived, and truly we have lived in abundance, have we put some of those abundance aside? Have we put some of those good years aside so that we can survive the rainy days? Some have done that, but I like to say that the majority of us haven't been able to do so um, for a number of reasons. And one of those reasons that we want to discuss is the lack of planning. Islam is a deen, a system of life that's very, very complete. It's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أمتي أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. This is no mean statement. It's a great statement. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you are the best of the ummah, of all the entire human being, أخرجت للناس, it's 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 a fact. It's an absolute fact. But it comes with certain conditions. And this condition, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, تأمرون بالمعروف وتنحون عن المنكر. That one must enjoin what is good and prohibit what is evil. And وتؤمنون بالله, and have belief, have iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We must have heard this ayah a number of times, if not many times. Sometimes this ayah comes into our right ears and it comes out of our left ears, and it still doesn't change us. All the stories in the Quran isn't there for bedtime readings. It's a story there for us to benefit from it. It's a story for us to really take heed of it. So whether we are ministers or not is, to a certain extent, is irrelevant, and it's the whole story is relevant to each of our household. Each of us husband, really, we are the breadwinners for our family. So to a certain extent, we can say that we are a minister of some sort in a small scale, that we still need to look after the needs of our family, however small or however big that family may be. And if we use the same argument or the same example that Yusuf alayhi salam has demonstrated in the Quran, yeah, we see that uh, planning is one of the greatest tools that one need to have and master, and then also implement to get us through. And also, to me, the other lesson is that all the essential services and the essential employment, jobs, so to speak, professions, I would put money aside that all of these professions are sunnah in nature. By sunnah, I mean it's profession that requires one to work with one hands. Yusuf alayhi salam demonstrated that the 7 years of good harvest, we need to put away some of this. And then when the 7 years of difficult time comes, that we have enough reserve. So reserve is one of the key words here that we must have. That once you have some reserve, you can mitigate through the difficult times. Because nothing is sure within when you have good times, the one that follows good times shall be difficult times. When you have sadness, you're gonna see happiness. When you see happiness, you're gonna see sadness. And and Ali radiallahu anh, used to be quite eloquent in his speech in demonstrating this. That the Sahaba radiallahu anh used to wonder why Ali radiallahu anh was smiling whenever he was in a difficult time. But his answer is one that is even better than the questions. He used to say that I am smiling because I'm in difficult situations because I know that what's coming after the sadness, it has to be good times and happy times. But I'm sad when I see good times because I know what comes to follow it or what will follow this good times or these happy times shall be difficult times. My dear brothers and sisters, let us reflect on the way we do things. Islam is a comprehensive system of life. It's a complete deen, not one that differentiates the needs of this dunya, the needs of our worldly life, and that of the needs of the hereafter. Islam puts everything together in its context and its portions and gives every single aspect of our life its due rights. It's something that is very unique and great about Islam is that anyone can practice this deen and anyone shall benefit the most. It's up to us how much benefit we want to get out of this. It's very much dependent upon the effort and our ability to follow the Quran and Sunnah. The more the Quran and the Sunnah that we are willing to accept, learn, and implement, we shall see this. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and this hadith really represent the way we as mu'min, as believer, live this world, and in terms of also the rub-on effect that we give to the society. And I think this hadith really puts it together. When Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, المؤمن كالنخلة إذا أكلت أكلت طيبة وإذا وضعت وضعت طيبة وإذا نزلت على فرع شجرة لم تقطعها. That he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said that a mu'min, a believer, is like that of the honeybee. He is like that of the honeybee. And what does it mean? That when he eats something that is tayyibah, something that is pure. Not only permissible, but pure. What is that? When he gives away, he gives gifts, he gives hadiyah, he gives presents. He gives gifts that are good. And whenever he descends onto branches, just like honeybees, you see them land into onto plants, onto flowers, into into a bunch of living things that it lands beautifully. It approaches it beautiful. It comes in, it lands, and it doesn't destroy nothing. No branches ever get destroyed. No trees will get damaged when bees are coming in. It shall do its purpose. Eats the very best of the stuff, the pollen or the nectar, and then it shall leave and leave benefit. Subhanallah, this is what us mu'min need to be. Look at the honeybee. It eats the nectar, gets away and makes honey out of it. And in the process, pollination is the byproducts. What a way of life. What a way of living life. COVID-19, to me, has given us a great lesson. A great lesson for us to come back to the Sunnah. To really reflect on every single aspect of our life. Not only this one, but many, many others, to really dissect our life and look deep and hard into our lives and look at where we have been so that we can know where we're going. And that's the very basic of planning that we all must employ. Because one that can see this as an opportunity, no crisis should become a waste. This crisis is a learning thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful, the most gracious, the most merciful. In fact, I believe the better translation to that is the one who's intensely gracious and continuously merciful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give this to us, this test, as a hardship. Rather, it's something that shall wake us up, something that shall equip us with more tools, with more reason to come back onto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to come back into the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu, to really see this as an opportunity and to look at the glass half full, as always. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm getting closer to my time slot. It's 30 minutes nearly gone. We've got a few minutes here. Should there be any questions, please fire them on. I'd love to answer it if I can answer this. But if I can't answer it, I'll see if I can find out the answer to that. And I'll hang around for a few minutes. So, my dear brothers and sisters, drawing the lesson from Yusuf alayhi salam, we really see the difference in approach. He, he didn't get stressed out. Yet he went to work straight away. He employed planning, patience, due diligence, all that great stuff that made him the greatest Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Finance. That this whole lesson is available to us to learn from. It's in the Quran, it's in the Tafsir. If you read Tafsir, it's even more, um, enlightening to me that Yusuf alayhi salam simply put the the benchmark of what us Muslims, what us mu'min really need to engage in these difficult times. Because after all, a mu'min, they don't have no fear. We mu'min should have a fear of that because we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never seen something except that it is of a blessing. And then Surah Al-Yunus, I'll leave you with this before we end. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا يحزنون. That those, the friends of Allah, yeah, that they simply have no fear in them, nor do they have any sadness, nor do they have any worry, nor do they have any anxiety. They were quite content. Whatever cards were dealt onto them, we should, still be content. But there's a condition into this, my brothers and my sisters, that in the following ayah, uh, Yunus 62 and 63, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the conditions of those people that have no fear and nor do they have any sadness. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. That those are the people that have believed. People that have believed and also have taqwa. Have taqwa, it means that he or she will obey all of the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and staying away from all of the prohibitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we can employ this into our life, bit by bit, every single element of it, every aspect, one aspect after another, that I believe and we know we shall be among those that are successful, that anguish, anxiety, worry, stress, whatever the diction or the choice of words that we shall use, it becomes irrelevant. that we simply will live life in contentment. And that's one of the best reason to practice Islam after believing in Allah in the last day, is that we also going to benefit from this Islam. We are also going to achieve the contentment, and this is something that is impossible any other way. No medicine will provide that to us, no pill will deliver that to us, and no other doctors, psychiatrists, shrinks that could have even bring it to us, regardless of the wealth that we squander. My dear brothers and sisters, our time is up. If there is no questions, I shall close this discussion and this lecture. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those that take heed in this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq, give us hidayah and inayah to be able to act upon what we know and to become Muslims that actually strive hard and very hard to look at every aspects of our life and every difficulty that we see and actually believe فَإِنَّ مَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that with hardship there is ease, and this is with, not after hardship. Mubarakallah fikum. My dear brothers, if there is anything that I've said that is correct, it's come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I made any mistakes during the short lectures, entirely, that is my mistakes. Ana al-Fakir, Reza Abdul-Jabbar has made that mistakes, and I sincerely apologize for that. Barakallah fikum. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. We'll see you on the next occasion, inshallah. Barakallah.